Okay, I tell you what. Can you kids in the classroom join my Zoom class? Just make sure your mic is muted. You won't need your headphones because you're with me, but I need you to join the class so that you can see the right thing. There's always a way around the problems, right, guys? Do you know how to join the Zoom? Okay, join the Zoom, and my doorbell should start ringing. Boy, Amari, you are fast. You got in there before anybody else. All right, here we go. Go to the top of my reading course. There we go. There we go. Is there anyone not in here yet? So you guys at Zoom can kind of look at the pictures and see what the rest of the classroom looks like from behind these guys. You haven't seen them in a while because they've been here. Miguel, I'm waiting on you, dude. There you are, buddy. Okie dokie, now this'll work. Okay. Except I can't find mine. La-di-da. Okay. Well, who would have thought that showing a PowerPoint would be so difficult today? Goodness, I didn't anticipate this. I guess because it's not in Google and it's separate. Okay, it worked a while ago. Now I just have to get my arrow over there. Let's play from the beginning. View. Slideshow from the beginning. And now, all right, so you guys aren't seeing it though, right? All right, we're almost there. Come on, sweet thing. Play it from, there we go. Hoo-wee. Y'all still aren't seeing it right, though. All right, we're just going to go on with it. Can y'all handle just seeing it like this? Yeah? All right. I don't know why it's not showing. So just pay attention to this slide here, the big one in the middle, okay? We're just going to go with it. So like you had fiction annotations, right? Tough question, aha, again and again, memory moment, contrast, contradiction, word of the wise. We also have nonfiction. And those of you in the classroom can see on the wall, I have an anchor chart of the nonfiction signpost. And remember, the whole point of a signpost is to get you to stop and pause and just kind of think about the big ideas that you're reading, okay? Part of your annotations, when you made those notes, you'll notice that the nonfiction were at the bottom, so you already have a cheat sheet for those, okay? So we talked about when you read, you often have three big questions. What surprised you? And we talked about this last week, that we want to be shocked and surprised. We want to experience things we've never thought about. I couldn't believe this. Really? That's what makes nonfiction so interesting. Okay? Now, as you are coming into nonfiction, Javin's here. What did the author think I already knew? So the author is writing their piece of writing, assuming you know things. And that's why sometimes when you read nonfiction, you get confused, because the author made an assumption. Okay, so we're going to talk about what to do with that. When you read nonfiction, you want to read stuff that challenges you, that changes your thinking or confirms your thinking. Okay? So here are our nonfiction signposts. Extreme or absolute language. Okay? Extreme or absolute language makes an exaggerated, overblown, maybe even an untrue claim. Have you guys heard the saying fake news? That's a big buzzword right now. Oh, that's fake news. That's kind of like this. It's using extreme language. It admits that, well, let me back up. A lot of times with this kind of thing, they're using bandwagon or loaded words. Do y'all remember that from 4th grade when you were doing persuasive reading and writing? I can tell by your eyes you don't, do you? Okay, we'll talk about that later then. All right, so if you see words like this, every, all, always, indisputably, unarguably, those are loaded words. They're trying to make you think that everyone believes this. And as a reader, should you just go, oh, well, if everybody thinks that, I should too? No, right? When you spot this type of language, you should know that's how the author's really feeling. He's exaggerating. Maybe he's even lying in order to trick or mislead you, okay? So we all use extreme language. For example, that was the funniest movie ever. Was that true? No, it was our way of emphasizing it, but it may not necessarily be true. I can't wait for lunch. I'm starving. Are you really starving? No, it's just your way of saying I'm really hungry. That scared me to death. I'm freezing. Again, those are extreme languages. So keep an eye out for that as you read. Sometimes extreme or absolute language is just an attempt to grab a reader's attention or to let you know how important this is to the writer. Other times, people use absolute language to try to just convince you that the author is correct. Sometimes it leads to discrimination and bias, so you have to watch for that absolute language. So whenever you are reading and you notice some absolute language, you need to stop and ask yourself this guiding question. Why is the author using that language? So try it with this example. No one on this planet will be untouched by climate change, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change announced. The report warned that climate impacts are already severe, pervasive, and irreversible. So look at that example. See if you can spot the absolute or extreme language. Is that what you saw? No one will be untouched. Really? No one? Every human being on the face of the earth is going to experience it? So, why was the author saying that? Rachel? Is your hand up? Nope. Anyone? Does climate change seem to be important to this author? Yeah. So he probably wants everyone to be careful and take care of the environment, right? So he's trying maybe either to scare you or to get your attention about how dire the situation is. That's why he said no one. Okay? Our second signpost is contrast and contradiction. And this is just like when we had this with fiction. You notice how this signpost is with both fiction and nonfiction? A contrast is between, remember, what we think is going to happen and then what we observe happening. And there's a difference. So again, you want to look for some language clues like, well, on the other hand, That means someone has a different opinion. By contrast, however, another viewpoint, those are indications that someone's going to tell you a different viewpoint. Okay? So when you spot a difference, you need to stop and think and ask yourself this guiding question. What is the difference? What are the different opinions? And why does it matter? So try it with this paragraph. Sparta, that's a Greek, back in the days it was a Greek group, a town. Sparta was content to keep to itself and provide army assistance when necessary. Athens, another city, on the other hand, wanted to control more and more of the land around them. Did you catch the contrast? So Athens wanted to control more land. Sparta just wanted to be left alone and stay in their own little area. Okay? So why is that important? Well, maybe that's going to lead to a war between the two, right? Hold on, let me let Kaylin in real quick. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead for time. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next signpost, which is numbers and stats. Stats are statistics, anything like percentages, decimals, anything like that. So authors use statistics because they're trying to prove they're right. Whenever you see something like 9 out of 10 dentists suggest using this toothpaste, doesn't it make it sound like it's an awesome toothpaste? So numbers give authors validity. Okay? Sometimes they're using a number that's not a number. Like they may say many. Oftentimes, that means a lot. Occasionally, an impressive amount. Few. Again, those are all number words. So keep an eye out for that as you read. Okay? So numbers and statistics help you to make comparisons or draw conclusions. They help you figure out fact and opinion and details. So when you're reading and noticing numbers, you need to be sure and stop and ask yourself, why did the author pick those numbers or amounts to use? What is it he's trying to show you? And signpost number 4, quoted words. So quotes are when you have someone official speaking. A lot of times they'll have it in quotation marks. They may cite an expert, a scientist, or something like that because it makes their opinion seem more valid. So the question you have to ask yourself when someone is using a quote, why did they choose that person and what does it add to their argument? And I'm going to skip the examples. And the last signpost is a word gap. This is particularly true when we're reading nonfiction because you're going to come to words that you may not see in everyday language. It may have vocabulary that you're not used to. And so it's real important to stop and think about those words. You need to know what those words mean in order to understand what the author is saying. So we learned a technique last week with dictionary.com. That's one thing you can use. If you're reading a nonfiction book, you can look in the glossary and see if it's there. Okay? All right. So now that you have been shown the nonfiction annotations, we are going to apply it. So I need you to split your screen and go to your reading book. So go to Rapid Identity and go to Ed. And your goal today is to take those nonfiction signposts and apply them to a story called Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain. And we're going to do a close read, which is what we did last time with our textbook. Remember where they have you highlight things and write in the margin and answer questions in the box? It's a close read. And you have here your annotations cheat sheet in case you don't have your copy made yet. Okay. And real quickly, you'll notice at the top it says some of you are going to be in a breakout room and some of you will be participating in the close read. So I'm going to start a breakout room, and we're going to try this because we're all in the same room. I don't know how this is going to work, but Miss Stanford has some information to share with some of you while I go on with the lesson. So I'm going to start the breakout room really quickly so that she can give directions. So if you get the invitation, please click the button to go to the breakout room. I lost a kid somehow. He was here, but then he left. Okay, so if you get this invitation, please go and join her. Otherwise, you're staying with me. Okay, I think you've got your group now. Okay, so the rest of you, if you'll go to your reading book. 1, 2, 3, there's 4 because Jose R. left. You only have 3? You've got Alicia though. Alicia, Allison, Almira, and Melissa. I don't have her either. I think she got lost somehow. She'll probably try to sign back in. Okay. All right. So the rest of us, if you will go ahead and go to assignments on your book. There she is. Hey, Almira, we lost you there. Let me try this again. Almira, I'm going to send you, be sure you click the button to go to the breakout room, please, Almira. There we go. All right, so let me get my screen back up here and going. All right, so once you see assignments on your screen, look for Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain. And I can't get my arrow over here. Whoopsie. Come on. There we go. Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain. Did everybody find it and open it? Does anyone need help? Kimberly, are you on Ed? Did you go to Rapid Identity with Ed? Yes or no? I can't hear you. You have to talk loud with a mask on, baby. I can't hear you. Assignment. Embarrassed. Blame Your Brain. Start. Okay. Everybody else is up and running? Yes? Yes? No? Go back to assignments. Yep, right there. Is everybody at home okay? Okay. So, disappointing someone or feeling embarrassed won't cause physical pain or permanent damage. So, why fear either one? Think about how being the fear of embarrassment affects your behavior. Okay? Your eyes should be on my screen, please, or your screen. So, we learned last week about text features like subheadings and bold words and pictures. And we are going to focus on text structure and how that's going to help you understand information. Okay? So, as you read, you're going to notice that we have definitions. Okay? Definitions explain things. They talk about main characteristics. We're going to have classification, which is where information is organized. Oops. Whoop, that wasn't good, was it? We'll make that one pink. And we're going to have something called advantages and disadvantages, which is where you're focusing on positive and negative things. Okay? So as we're reading through our nonfiction article, be looking for these three things happening. Okay? All right, so click the arrow to go to the next page. Embarrassed, blame your brain. And I'm going to go ahead and play the audio. And if you're at home and this video is lagging, you're welcome to make me quiet and play the audio on your own computer. Here you should be fine being able to hear it. And I'm going to turn on.
Embarrassed? Blame your brain. Informational text by Jennifer Connor Smith. Remember when you could pick your nose in public or run outside in your underpants without a second thought? These days, you flood with embarrassment if your dad sings in front of your friends or you drop a tray in the cafeteria. What changed? Not the rules about nose picking or your father's singing voice, but your brain. It's all in your head. Sometime during middle school.
All right. So you saw the box. So like we did last time, we're going to stop and do the close read. Okay? So he kind of skipped over the background, so I want to go ahead and do that. We've all been in situations in which we've based a decision less on rational, logical thinking than on social pressure. Have you ever had peer pressure to do something? Yeah. Psychological research reveals that these snap decisions can have complex, confusing roots. In this article, science writer and clinical psychologist Jennifer Connor Smith explains why teenagers naturally develop a strong and sometimes overwhelming fear of embarrassment. Go ahead and highlight those words. We talked about last time that you need to always be sure that you read this information because often you're going to find a test question here. So right there, she's explaining this. So when you get finished with this article, you should know why teenagers have an incredible fear of being embarrassed. Okay, everybody have that highlighted? Okay. Prepare to compare. As you read, make note of how fear of embarrassment can drive people's actions. Okay, again, anytime you have italic words telling you what to look for, you need to be able to pay attention to that because chances are that's going to turn into a test question. How does embarrassment make people behave? This information will help you compare the ideas of this text with ideas in The Ravine. Didn't we see peer pressure in Ravine with Benny? So as we're reading this, be thinking about Benny. All right, so then we had paragraph 1, telling about all those things you did or you might have seen other people do when they were teeny tiny, like picking their nose and running around outside in their underwear. Yeah? And there's no way as you get older that you would ever do this. And then the author said, well, what changed? Okay? So the close reading is saying, highlight the subheading. Remember subheadings? So locate the subheading. So remember, if this is the title, Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain, come on down. Here's your subtitle, Prepare to Compare. Go ahead and highlight that. Prepare to compare. So in this section, start typing and tell me, what do you think this section's going to be about? If they're saying, prepare yourself to compare, jot down your answer. So the act of stopping and thinking about that subheading and making a prediction is getting your brain in the right moment to process it. And your prediction may be right, it may be wrong. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's just getting your brain ready to process. Okay, I see 2 kids here finished typing. Their hands are off their computer. Let's go about another 30 seconds. Okay, wrap up your final thoughts. All right, do you see the next subheading? It's all in your head. That's where I'm going to start playing.
Changes in brain activity transform how we see the world. Spending time with other kids becomes a top priority. Hormones power up the brain's reward system, making hanging out with friends more fun than ever before. But these changes come with a downside. Fitting in becomes essential. Threat detection systems focus on what other people think and scan for any hints of disapproval. Hormones push the brain's shame and self-consciousness systems into overdrive. Because of these brain changes, teens start reacting more strongly to social problems. Scientists don't know this just from surviving middle school. They have evidence from laboratory research. During a challenge, like giving a speech, teens release more stress hormones and have higher blood pressure than kids or adults. Teens don't even have to tackle a challenge to feel stressed. Even being watched over a video monitor makes teens sweat more than adults. Words do hurt like sticks and stones. Why do we use pain words like hurt feelings and broken...
Okay, so let me stop it for a second. Okay. Take a moment and look at that graphic, that diagram. It's what a human brain looks like. And just like we learned last week, we have labels telling you the different parts of the brain. Okay? And then we have our second box. Highlight the subheading. All right, so go back up. We have a subheading. It's all in your head. Go ahead and highlight it. And then the question, which main organizational pattern is the author using? And then how can you tell? So remember the organizational patterns that we were talking about was a definition or classification where they're organizing stuff, or positive and negative. So when you look back up here, which one of those three do you see happening? I'm going to put them up here again so that you can see them. Is it definition, classification, or pros and cons? So which one of those do you see, and how do you know? Type your answer. Actually, I think I have you on the wrong section. Last time we were using the box to answer the questions above. But looking ahead, I think they want us to look below this time. All right, so we're going to look below. Words do hurt like sticks and stones. Notice how it's red and it's in bigger letters than the others? So that's the subheading we're going to focus on. So as we read this section, see which one of these you can find: a definition, a classification, or pros and cons.
Started to talk about problems with other people, maybe because our brains react to physical pain and social rejection in the same way. Psychologists explore this connection between physical and social pain by measuring brain activity while people play a computer game called Cyberball. In Cyberball, research participants play a game of catch online with two other players. At least, that's what they believe is happening. In reality, the other players are fake, just part of the game's programming. The game starts fair, with the players programmed to share the ball with the research participant. Then, with no warning, the players start throwing the ball only to each other, leaving the research participant out completely. No big surprise, teens in these cyberball experiments feel sad and rejected. The surprising part? Rejection activates the same brain systems that physical pain triggers. Brain scans show that rejection fires up the ow part of our brain that makes pain upsetting. Without this pain response system, we would recognize physical pain, but it wouldn't bother us. This physical pain system also responds to many kinds of social pain, like thinking about a breakup or being called boring. Some people have especially reactive pain response systems. A stronger ow brain response in the lab translates to people feeling more rejected, self-conscious, and sad in real life. Differences in pain system reactivity may help explain why rejection hurts teenagers more than young kids. In cyberball experiments comparing children to teens, teens activate brain systems related to pain and sadness more strongly.
All right, so going back to that box, how did the author organize words do hurt like sticks and stones? Which one of those three did he use? And then how do you know? What did you see in that section that made you think that? How many of you put definition? Yeah. This was definition. This whole section is organized by definition. So now can you prove how do you know? What were the definitions that he was trying to explain to you? Can you wait? Did you catch the sentence right here? Psychologists explore this connection between physical and social pain by measuring brain activity while people play a computer game called Cyberball. So what is he exploring? The idea of embarrassment and rejection. And he's going to explain it using this experiment that they conducted. So stop and think about what you learned in that section. When you're reading nonfiction, it is important to stop after each subsection and think about, what did I just figure out? Because in nonfiction, it's throwing a lot of information at your brain, and you have to give your brain time to stop and chew over it. So think about, what did we learn about teenagers in this section? Did you catch paragraph 7? Go ahead and highlight that on yours. Teenagers. Rejection activates physical pain triggers in your brain. So when your friends reject you or say, we don't want to play with you, we don't want to talk with you, that's stupid, it actually makes you feel like you're in physical pain. Everybody got that highlighted? Okay. Go on to paragraph 8. Scan paragraph 8. Some people have a stronger ow response. So if you have a stronger owl response, you feel it deeper when you're rejected. You feel more rejected, more self-conscious, and sad. Go ahead and highlight those two. Differences in pain reaction may help explain why rejection hurts teenagers more than young kids. Remember back up here at the very beginning? Why teenagers develop a strong and overwhelming fear of embarrassment. Remember how that told us what this was going to explain? And now here we are in paragraph 8 talking about teenagers. Teenagers feel more pain and self-consciousness and sadness. Okay, everybody got that highlighted? Yes? All right, we've given our brain time to process it. Okay, we're going to skip the comma part. So go on down to embarrassment has an unfair advantage. Paragraph 9.
Embarrassment has an unfair advantage. Our thoughts and feelings depend on the balance between many different brain systems. Activity in one system can amplify or cancel out activity in another. Because our brains take more than 2 decades to develop, some brain systems come online sooner than others. Unfortunately, the systems that trigger embarrassment and fear of rejection fire up years before the systems that tame bad feelings. Imagine a tug of war with fear of rejection, the desire to fit in, and self-consciousness, all pulling on the same side. With nothing pulling against them, they easily drag in all sorts of bad feelings. This imbalance means even small problems, like tripping in the hallway, can trigger a wave of embarrassment. Brain scans reveal that adults unleash a powerful defender to pull the brain back into balance. Adult brains quickly fire up systems to soothe anxiety and generate positive thoughts. These systems help balance out concern about what other people think, so adults feel less hurt and embarrassed by rejection. Wouldn't it be better if we could just turn off hurt feelings, embarrassment, and the desire to fit in? Probably not. Before modern society, people needed to belong to a group to survive.
Amari,
Without a
sit up,
group,
please.
people couldn't find enough food or protect themselves. Fear of rejection forced people to behave well enough for the community to keep them around. Our lives don't depend on social acceptance anymore, but social pain is still helpful. Fear of rejection pulls on the right side in the tug of war against mean or selfish behavior. Shame punishes us for lying or cheating, even if we don't get caught. Social pain hurts, but it also makes us nicer. Brain scans show that teens with strong pain response systems give more support to other kids.
Okay, so we've got a contrast and contradiction. So that's one of our signposts that can go with fiction and nonfiction. The directions say in paragraph 12 and 13, highlight examples of the negative effects of a fear of rejection, then highlight examples of positive. Okay, remember contrast and contradiction are differences. So go back to paragraph 12 and on your own highlight the negative effects. Did you notice in the very first line, the negative effects of rejection? When you're rejected, you feel hurt, embarrassed, right? Okay, look at 13. Find the positive effects of being rejected. You okay, Amari? Sit up, baby. You're getting sleepy on me.
This day, the internet here I'm dying is like it's busy today, and basically I got signed.
Okay, Amari, stop for a second. I need you to put it in the chat, honey.
She was in my group.
Let me move you, Almira, Let me move you back to the breakout room so you can talk with Miss. Why does she need to be in a breakout room?
She was with my group.
But they're working independently.
Yeah, we were just, if they had any questions,
Oh, okay. I'm following. All right, Elmira, there you go. Okay, sorry guys. Positive, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So the positive effects, shame, no, that's not it. Social pain hurts, but it makes us nicer. So that's the positive. So if you have someone who's doing something bad like stealing, and he's rejected, or whatever, she's rejected, the idea is she'll stop stealing because she wants to be with friends. So she'll be nicer and stop that. Okay, everyone's got that? All right, so now in the box, answer the question, why does the article note both the positive and negative effects of the fear of rejection? And then you have a second question. Is that fear good for us? Why or why not? So you've got 3 questions. So first one. Why do we have both positive and negative mentioned in this article? Jot down your answer. Take a guess if you don't know. Why did that writer put both sides in here? Don't worry about spelling, just sound it out. If you're stuck, think about advertisings or something. Why would someone give both sides of a situation to you? If they want you just to believe their point of view, why give both? $30 more seconds. Skip it. Okay, wrap up your final word or two. So you should have said something about the author provides positive and negative to provide a balanced view. He's trying to give you a balanced viewpoint. You also could have used balanced, also would be a fair. Are you kidding me? Why would she do that? Okay, now go on to the second question. Do you think fear of rejection is good for us? So you're going to put yes or no. And then number 3, explain what you think. If you put down that fear of rejection is a good thing, tell me why. If you put down fear of rejection is a bad thing, tell me why. There's not a right or wrong answer. You're just supporting your opinion. Okay, about 30 seconds. All right, and we'll continue listening.
Unfortunately, knowing the benefits of social pain won't save you from a flash of humiliation when your mom reminds you to take a potty break in front of your friends. But you can take comfort in reminding yourself that the pain makes you a better person. Maybe even one less likely to embarrass your own kids someday. Need help? Your heart pounds, your face flames red.
All right. So, looking at the organization patterns, highlight the 2 steps listed in this boxed feature below. Okay? So they're going to give you 2 steps, and you're going to highlight them. Are you ready?
And your stomach feels like you've swallowed a live octopus. Meltdown mode doesn't come with an off switch. You need to hack your brain. Here are 2 steps you can take. 1. Deactivate the alarm. Your brain treats social slip-ups like a threat to survival, preparing your body to fight. You can't directly shut down this threat alert system, but you can trick your brain into doing it. Slow, deep breathing informs your brain the emergency has passed. Just relax your shoulders, fill your lungs completely, and exhale slowly. Your brain will respond by slowing your heart and reducing stress hormones. 2. Disagree with yourself. Stress floods your brain with negative thoughts. Imagining awful possibilities is your brain's attempt to protect you. The solution? Don't believe everything you think. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, find something more reasonable to say to yourself. In the moment, this boosts your mood. Over time, it rewires your brain. Brain cells forge new connections each time you talk back to negative thoughts. Eventually, realizing problems aren't so bad becomes automatic, just like riding a bike.
All right. So if you haven't done it already, go ahead and highlight the steps. Okay, everybody got your steps highlighted? All right, so now go back to the box. How does numbering those steps help you better understand it? So when you see number 1 and number 2, how does that help you, the reader? Type your answer. Amari, you have your answer typed? So you might have said something like, by having these numbers, you know there's 2 things you have to do. You could have said, by having these numbers, you know there's 2 separate ideas. Okay? Anyone still typing? Just a few? All right. So going back, you can just look at my screen. You don't have to flip back through yours. Why teenagers have an overwhelming fear of embarrassment. If that was a test question, could you answer it? Why do teenagers give in to peer pressure? Why are they so worried about being embarrassed? That's an idea we're going to discuss tomorrow. We're going to go back and talk about Vinny. He's a teenager. He faced peer pressure going down to the pond. He didn't want to be embarrassed with his friends. So we're going to explore this question a little bit more tomorrow, okay? All right. So for the end of class today, I do have a writing assignment, but you have now or let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday and Thursday to work on it. Complete sentence test. And so this is based on what we did yesterday. So the sooner you do it, the better, because it's in your brain right now, fresh from yesterday. If you wait till Thursday, you may not remember it as much. And it's just 5 sentence fragments or run-on sentences. The only thing you have to do is revise it, just like we did in our practice lesson yesterday. Keeping in mind that sentences start with capitals and end with punctuation. So you can work on that now. Also, I did have an announcement for you at the beginning of your module telling you that grades were going to be updated at the end of today. So if you have anything that you haven't done in my class, the breadwinner, the character autopsy, the theme and character, or your reading notes, you need to get these done by the end of the day, because otherwise they go into the real grade book as a 0. Okay? If you have any questions and you're on Zoom, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, y'all can take your sentence quiz or work on anything you have missing.